Hey, what's going on, guys? Dylan from the Bottom Line View here to give you guys your part 2 review of the OJ Made in America 5-part documentary series on ESPN. 30 for 30 has been releasing these episodes of OJ Simpson and everything that's involved, not just him though, race and culture as it was in the 80s and 90s. Really good stuff. Another fantastic episode tonight. If you have not checked out the part 1 review, go ahead and check that out. Thank you guys for the people that have watched it. Over 750 views on that. Obviously, love when the views come in and the support comes in from you guys. So obviously, I want to say thank you to everybody that's watched it and supported the channel, of course. Like, comment, subscribe, go to our Patreon, blah, blah, blah. Alright, into this review. So, in the last episode, we talked a lot about historical context. We kind of split a bunch of time in between that and OJ. A lot of it tonight was about historical context. Now, don't get me wrong, we're going to get into a lot of OJ. It's almost entirely for OJ's part with Nicole Simpson. That's about the only, that's the part we get into tonight with OJ. But I want to talk about some of the stuff that was talked about in this documentary, because if we just talked about OJ, a good hour or so would be taken out of this whole equation. So, what we had here is split up into two different parts. One was talking about a series of events that happened in the 80s and 90s that really sparked the black community into full-on warfare, and how it did relate to O.J. Simpson, don't get me wrong. O.J., again, even in this episode, was explained as the guy who really didn't care about race. He didn't stand up for black rights. At one point, one man said that every time OJ would speak about black rights or something to do with black people, his points were mute. No one could trust his viewpoints. So we basically got into that subject here. They talked about they talked a lot about the LAPD. They talked about how black people thought they were too violent, how they were using their authority in the worst way possible, how it was not socially acceptable. Or I should say, it wasn't the worst thing in the world for white America to see what the LAPD was doing. They thought it was just, they thought it was right, but a lot of black people thought it was racist and targeting towards them. They kind of explained this first part, like in the beginning, how OJ lived in a setting in California. I forgot, it was like a very small city. But it was full of white people. It had there was no black people, but he was treated as that celebrity. He was treated as like the best black celebrity for a white person. Like, he was trying to fit in that culture because he didn't care about the black society that he had grown up in, and people were saying that as such, and so they brought that up. But they kind of talked about three events in particular. They talked about how at one night, I believe it was at 1989, I think. Don't quote me on that. These police officers rushed into this apartment or home or whatever and absolutely ransacked the place. Absolutely destroyed it. Every single piece. Like, there was nothing left unbroken. And it was all for a very small amount of drugs. That's what they came in there for. And they literally just viciously attacked and told the woman, quote unquote, stay down, bitch, don't do anything. Like, they ransacked this place because it just so happened to be she was black. They were kind of going in there and just vicious. It was very vicious. So they talked about how that was unfair and unjust, and it was very, to the white people, it was very unbecoming. Like, they wouldn't expect that, but it was obviously, they were getting frustrated with that, the black people. The second thing they brought up, and this was the big key one, was the Rodney King stuff. It happened 91, I want to say. Yeah, it happened 91. Rodney King, who was a motorcyclist who had been drinking. You all know the story, but I'm just kind of explaining it for this review. Vicious beatdown. Again, somebody recorded it from their home camera. If this had not been seen, it would have been people were saying if this had not been recorded, this would be the same thing going on. It was vicious. And look, we don't know what happened on the camera. All I'm saying is, it's all, first of all, 25 years ago, so it doesn't really matter in my opinion, but absolutely asinine, absolutely stupid. And most of these LAPD police officers, I kind of wanted to punch them because I was like, Jesus Christ, that's stupid. But yeah, so they got taken into, they went on trial, and we'll get back to them in a minute. But they also talked about the teenage girl that happened to be black. She was going in a gas station for orange juice, and the Korean store owner, they got in an argument about something, and she was leaving, and she got shot in the back of the head, and there's actual security footage of this that they actually showed. So again, this is for mature audiences, which I know all of you are. But they talked about how, she got shot in the back of the head for a very minor thing, a very small thing, and ended up in getting shot, and then the owner only got 5 years probation and 400 hours of community service. There was one black woman that was talking, and I agree with this point. She's like, black people have been going to jail and getting in there for 20 to 30 years for coke and for drugs. And this woman just shot a black teenager who had a lot to live for and only gets community service and probation? Where's the line? Where do we stand up and say this is wrong? And it was wrong. And then also they talk about the trial ended in April '92 and of Rodney King, and they said it was not guilty, and you just get all these reactions of current and past of how people reacted, and they go through the whole Rodney King riots, and that's absolutely crazy. Again, it was 7 years before I was even born, but it's absolutely insane, ridiculous, all over the place, just, and to a very small degree, I can sit here and say, I'm justified with them, they had a justifiable reason not to do what they did, not all of that, but they had that anger inside to say, we are getting treated wrongly, and that's true, and they were getting treated in the worst way possible. Literally, these people would come up to them, and the police officers were not dealing the right way, and the riots and everything were just getting into that sense that, it ties in here because of race and culture in the 90s and in late 80s. So I thought that was really well put together. It took up a lot of time in this episode. I'm just mentioning that now because we're about 8 minutes into close to a 15-minute review. I'm just saying. But the second part of this episode was documenting the wedding and everything of Nicole Brown Simpson and O.J. Simpson. Talking about their lifestyle, how O.J. was very weird, He had this, second kind of lifestyle. At one point, he was the celebrity that everybody cared for, and everybody saw as the greatest man to ever live, and then outside, he'd just be very vindictive. He would go and cheat on his wife multiple times. He was aggressive. There was the story of, in January 1st, 1989, where, he was it 89 or 90, one of the two. There was a police call, and Nicole called and said she was getting beaten up, and there was photos of the violence that took place and whatnot. And OJ was he was under arrest at one point, and then he drove off, fled the scene, and did nothing happened out of it. And they just go over the fact that OJ was very abusive and very miscaring to his wife, which was very strange. You think in your head as a friend, this is crazy. It's actually kind of sick at one point. We see the other side of OJ, and towards the end we get this white guy, I don't remember his name, but they divorced, right? Nicole and OJ divorced, and they were talking about the stories of how one time they were eating, and this Bentley pulls up, which is OJ's, and he comes into the house, puts his hands on the table, and he's like, she's still mine, we're still married, everything about that, and it's like, whoa, Like, this OJ we haven't seen before, and it's pretty crazy to see the side of him, the side where we're like, what the hell is going on? Like, everything involved in it was pretty crazy, and you just couldn't believe it. And they have Nicole's like, I'm going to live my life elsewhere, I just need my space with the kids and whatnot. And then finally, they get back together, but they're only going to date. And then that last part where, the last call, October 93, where she's like, I fear for my life. Like, he's going to kill me. He is getting to my house, he's going to kill me at one point. And they talk about the, kind of the affair, quote unquote, with her and Marcus Allen. At one point, Marcus and OJ were good friends, but Nicole saw Marcus as a younger, better OJ. Somebody that was, like, responsible, and somebody that was a good friend to her and whatnot. And OJ's like, you can't do that to a brother like that, Like, I will kill you. If at one point, she says, if I was to ever talk with him again, I will kill you. So kind of OJ's like, we see this other side, and it's pretty scary, actually. It's kind of creepy, just seeing the other side of OJ. Because, again, I know a lot about sports, but I don't know everything about everything, So when you hear these sports documentaries, you hear a lot of interesting stuff. And hearing all these stories from accounts from friends and family, it's pretty crazy stuff. And I thought it was very interesting to hear the story of their relationship and everything, because you think it was all peachy and good, and then all that stuff happened. But at the same time, it's like OJ was a bad person himself. He wasn't really a shining armor, a knight in shining armor, although he thought he was. He thought he was the shit. And it was crazy just to kind of watch that and see the next side of OJ. And, this next episode 3, I'm pretty sure is going to be on the chase. Because we're in that, like, the late part of 93, and we even see a note about 2 weeks before the car chase in 94. So we're about to get into that next episode, and I think it's going to be very interesting. But overall, fantastic episode. Again, if you have not checked out part 1, go check that out. If you have not seen part 2, go check out part 2. Watch this whole series, man. It's pretty good. And I'm going to be reviewing. I'm going to try to get all these 3 reviews out. I just don't know when. We'll see how it goes. Part 3 I'll hopefully have tomorrow. It all depends on my time, my schedule. So, because I'm a kind of a busy guy. But I got vacation. So yeah, very good episode tonight. Very interesting about the riots and what OJ was doing. Good tie-ins together. We still got 6 more hours of content. So thank you guys for watching this part 2 review of OJ Made in America. Like the video if you enjoyed the review. Comment below your thoughts on my review and the OJ Made in America documentary. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Peace.